It's the eye of the tiger. It's the thrill of the fight. Hello and welcome to the next episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies. With special guest, Tim Davis. This is the podcast where we all saw a movie at our local Regal Cinema Theater, and now we're going to talk about it in Matt's on the Pilot, in the parking structure right next to the garage. We're going to talk about such things as... Did I say parking structure next to the garage?
You did.
Okay, garage next to the theater. There we go. We're going to talk about such things as, should you see this movie? Should you not see this movie? Should you wait for it for home? Do you have to see it in theater? Should you bring a date? Should you bring a kid? Should you not bring anyone? Should you snack, goof off, run around the theater? I don't know. We're going to talk about all those things and maybe only a little bit of those things. But, you know, we try our best. It's why we're here. I am Todd Domer.
And I'm Matt Malloy, and I say, yeah, go for it. Run around the theater during this movie. And, yes, we're here. We saw a movie. This movie's called Monkey Man. That's right, guys. Monkey Man. We saw it, and there's some people in it. And, Tim, tell us who those...
Specifically those people are known.
I'd really say there's only two people who are known, and I wouldn't even say they're necessarily household names, but Dev Patel is the star of this, and the director. And the writer. And the producer.
Yeah.
And pretty much it's all him. And he's the star. He's all over it. He's mostly known for his Oscar-winning role in Slumdog Millionaire. And then the only other recognizable face is Sharlto Copley. I wouldn't say his name is known, but he had a run of movies in the 2010s, I think that was, District 9, the A-Team remake, and Elysium. He was a South African actor who... I always thought stands out in whatever he's in.
I think he's phenomenal.
Yeah.
He wasn't given a lot to work with.
No, when he shows up, he makes himself.
He goes all in on every role, and I love it.
Yeah, and that's it. I would say for known names. There's a known name in the credits. Jordan Peele, who apparently helped produce this and get this into theaters. But that is it.
There you have it. So, what is Monkey Man about? Well, Monkey Man follows the story arc follows Bobby, I guess, is his name. I don't think we ever get
his made up name. Yeah,
I don't think
we ever got his real name.
But Bobby is out for revenge. He's living in India. He's an Indian man living in India. That's the setting of the movie. And he is out for revenge on something that happened when he was a small child to his mother. And he's after the guy who did it. And he's now a grown adult, he tries a few tactics to enact his revenge. His plot goes wrong. He ends up injured, near death, but is nursed back to health, given some mysterious toxic, but not toxic powder. And then gains the abilities to fight like a monkey man, and leads him on a rampage after an extended training sequence. Rampage of revenge and terror and violence. And that's what this movie is about.
That is it.
And so, Todd, using your monkey mind, tell us...
Such a monkey mind.
Tell us, what is your gut reaction to Monkey Man?
I think I'm on my own island here once again. But plenty of negatives for this movie, but overall I like this movie. And I think, I don't think you guys are going to share that thought, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm excited to hear. So I'll start with the negatives. This is a rare one.
We haven't all really said anything about it walking into the car.
Yeah, so I'll start with the negatives. The negatives are shaky camera all the time. I got dizzy several times during the movie.
Clearly a choice.
And yeah, it's I think at times it was used really well, but then it was times where you don't need it now. I think at times where it was supposed to be like the actual visceral action and stuff like that, I liked it. But then there'd be times where it'd be shaky camera all the time, and I'm like, oh gosh, just steady that camera. You're gonna give me a headache.
Yep.
The story is at times original and at times paint by numbers. Mm-hmm. So it kind of switches back and forth between two stories like that. I think there's a lot of this movie that is so entrenched in Indian culture
Yeah.
that I think a lot of it gets lost if you don't know anything about India. Like me, I don't know a whole lot. So, but
He clearly has something to say.
right, and so this is an action movie wrapped up in like political message, like financial disparity. Like there's a lot of underlying messages in this wrapped up in this like kind of crazy revenge story. And at times I really dug it, and at times I was like, I don't get it anymore. You're losing me. Let's like wrap it back around here. The acting I thought was fine. Like I don't think anyone's gonna win any awards here, but I also didn't like. There wasn't one person who kept being on screen that I was like, oh, get that person off. Like, they're just stinking up my screen. And the action, I thought, was really good at times. And then a couple of times I was like, I can't see what's happening because you're going too fast with the camera. I can't register what's going on. But, you know, this is like, I think this movie was sold on the fact, to me, like when I saw that it was going to be a visceral action movie, very gritty, very like, that kind of stuff. And I thought in general it delivered in that area. And I'm always down for an action movie, so I knew I wanted to see this movie no matter what. But, you know, the fact that it gets like a lot of different religious, political messages get thrown in there was kind of like, I didn't see that coming. Like, none of that is really totally shown in the trailer. So that was like, I was like, okay, you know, I like this. There were some things that I was like, I don't understand this route that you're going to take. And it's supposed to like, it's a toxin that if you survive it, you're good. But if you don't survive it, you're dead. I'm like, well, that seems pretty straightforward. Like, if you don't survive it, you're dead. But, yeah, I think it could have been tighter in a lot of different areas. I think it could have been shorter a little bit. I mean, this movie was pushing 2 hours. And that's a long time for a revenge tale. But I thought the action was really good. And there were different parts. I mean, like, when we get to, like, the final half hour of the movie, I was really, like, enthralled. Like, I was like, oh, okay, let's do this. And but I definitely don't think this movie's for everyone. Like, I think there's plenty of people who are going to see this movie and be like, what did I just watch? I don't like that. So it's a hard one for me to say, sure, yes, absolutely, you should go see this in the theaters. I think if you're an action fan and you're looking for something like, I don't know, like not totally different. I mean, it's not like a John Wick movie, but it's also kind of similar to a John Wick movie. They also reference John Wick.
It's in the genre, for sure.
But I liked the stunts. I liked the action. I could have done with less shaky camera, like I said. So I'm gonna land on liking this movie, but it definitely has its faults. But it was a little interesting. It got a little political. It got a little religious, and it got a little violent. A lot of violent. And honestly, that's a mixture for me that I just didn't see coming tonight. So I'm gonna say see it because I liked it. I can understand if people aren't gonna see it. And do you have to see it in theaters? I don't know about that. Like, if you're a fan of Dev Patel, or if you're a fan of, like, you know, more independent movies that aren't, like, studio driven and, like, you know, someone's got a clear cut thing that they want to do, then yeah, support this movie because you're supporting, you know, other artists. You know, like, if this is a movie that does well, then other artists, you know, get the freedom to do different stuff. So, but, you know, if you looked at the trailer and you were like, then probably don't. Like, and that's okay. Like, that's you. You do you, boo. So I'm going to land on I liked it, but I do have to be honest that it did have its faults. Like, I'm not blown away. I'm not like, woo, best movie I ever saw. But yeah, it's certainly a movie I'm going to be thinking about for a while. And replaying the action in my head. But I would say if you're at all interested, sure, go see it. Form your own opinion. I like people to form their own opinions. I don't like them to bandwagon. Like, I think if you're going to not support a movie or actively tear it down, you should at least see it to have an opinion about it. I kind of feel like if you haven't seen the movie, you don't get an opinion, but that's just me. So don't come up to me in the street and tell me your opinions if you've never seen the movie, because I won't hear it. But that's me. Matt?
Oh, changing it
I know,
up.
I changed it up. I mean, I didn't mean to until I said it, but here we are.
All right.
Here we are. All right. Well,
I'll take
I'm here. I saw the movie, so I'm going to actively tear it down. Now,
Oh, good point, counterpoint.
this is easily the worst movie that I've seen this year. This movie is ruined by shaky camera.
I can understand that. I really can.
There are fight scenes where you can't tell what's going on. There are a lot of them. And there are a lot of points in this movie where someone is waking up from a hazy daze and you get their point of view.
Yeah.
I can't emphasize enough how bad the cinematography was in this movie. I get that they were making a point and that they were making a choice.
Not your choice.
Not a choice to hit with Matt, apparently.
Not a choice that I think anyone should have to endure. This movie was too long. This movie dragged. Unlike you, Todd, I was not enthralled by the last half hour. We could all see where it was going. Although maybe the final boss was a bit of a surprise that he went that far, but not really. And I just thought that there wasn't much to the story. Yes, there was some vague references to some various things at times, but they didn't spend enough time on it to make those really meaningful, I felt. Was the acting was fine, but there wasn't much acting.
Right.
It was mostly action sequences that you can't follow because the camera work is so bad. And are there a few shining moments maybe of something that's clear? Yes, and I'll say you see them all in the trailer. If you've seen the trailer, you've seen the non-shaky bits in this movie for the most part. And you know, I don't recommend. Well, and we were disadvantaged tonight because we were too close to the screen.
I didn't
and it was a
realize
big
gonna
screen.
Be, I would have gone farther back. Yeah.
No worries about that.
Yeah.
But
It still would have been shaky.
it made a shaky experience even worse because we were so close. So I would say maybe don't see it in theaters if you're going to watch this movie.
Especially if you're prone to being like bothered by that kind of camera work.
Yes. So I will say that this movie is bad. I don't think anyone should watch it. And if you do, at least I've warned you. So that's where I'll leave it. Not a positive movie for me.
Tim?
I think I will actually be more toward Todd's camp. I was
Suck it, Matt.
no. But I fully understand. Like, I hear Matt stuff, and I don't sit here going, "Oh my God, why would you think that?" I totally see it.
Absolutely.
But I think there was enough visual interest in me. Like, shaky cam doesn't bother me at its heart. When it's overused, sure. And yes, there was some of that, especially like you said, at the distance we were at. It was pretty jarring. I would actually, the word I would use for the camera work for most of this movie is frenetic. And that can work in certain contexts. Like, I thought for most of the fight scenes, it was pretty cool. And some of the visuals he would do as far as like there was a scene early in the movie where one of the mobster lady's purse gets passed around the city. And I thought the camera work on that was really cool. So, like, there were some things that were visual choices that I thought were really neat and made the movie stand out at the beginning. But then the problem was, as the movie kept going, they didn't dial it back or use it for certain things. They used it for everything. And after a while, it did get overkill. And, but for the most part, I was with it. And like Todd said, they tried to touch on some financial disparity in India and some, believing in yourself, overcoming obstacles, not just physically, but spiritually. And, they tried to get you some Zen moments and get this character to where he needs to be to finish the job. And I mean, that's all kind of tropes you get in some of these revenge movies, and that's fine. I thought the music was really good. The sound design was also mixed in with the frenetic camera work, and sometimes it was really interesting and different. Sometimes it was also, okay, we get it. So again, I feel like I'm in the middle where it's like, yes, it got too much after a while, but it never turned me off completely. It was just like, I guess I got to a point where I accepted this is how Dev is telling the story and wants it told. So I guess I'm along for this ride. But like Todd, it's not the greatest movie in the world, but it's interesting. If you, like you said, if you were gonna see this movie, I say go ahead and see it. Do you need to see it in theaters? Sit in the back row.
Yeah, go up as far as you can.
I do think it's interesting enough, and because it's clearly a passion project of his, like Todd said, support something like this if you want to see more stuff like this. But maybe your director's notes from above would be let's calm the camera down. But I think overall, yes, I'm just going to slightly recommend it as well.
Oh, we got some screaming and yelling going on.
That's right.
Wow. All right. Well, getting down to some ratings here. Obviously, how many monkey masks would you give this movie?
Right.
0 being the worst, because then you have none. 5 being the best, because then you got 5 monkey masks. Then you got yourself a little monkey gang.
Getting all the underground fights.
However, I do have to say that one of the most disappointing parts of this movie was him bleaching the monkey mask to a white monkey, which follows the story that we're told. And I was like, okay, and then immediately taking it off.
Yeah.
It's like, what was the point?
Yeah.
Such a symbolic,
I get what they were
kind of like, let me
but we
bleach
gotta
his
see,
mask. Like,
we
I'm a
gotta
white
see
monkey
Dev.
now. And then he walks down an alley, and then as soon he just takes it right off. And I was like, okay, well, so 0 being the worst, 5 being the best. Matt?
Yeah, and before I give my rating, I have to agree with that. Like, the whole connection with this monkey man myth
Right.
was for most of the movie just really ignored.
Yeah,
And the fact
like
that
not delved into, like,
Right.
yeah, I was like, yeah. No, I agree. It was very, like, when he took the mask off and threw it on the ground, I audibly, like, I was like,
Yeah.
I was shook. I was like, what?
And yet they
Like,
still did visuals where like there's a big poster in the background of the monkey man
Right.
in his final battle,
Yeah.
and then they'd show that, and then he would stand in front of it.
And
like,
I hate,
they
I hate
clearly
that
were
stuff
going for all that.
because the only reason, it's the same thing that why Iron Man ever
superheroes.
takes his
Yep.
like helmet off, or Spider-Man takes his mask off. Oh, we got to show the actor. It's like, no, like, you don't. Like, I get it. It's Iron Man. I don't need him to take his mask off.
Right.
It's the Monkey Man. Like, let him keep his mask on. Like,
Right.
we went through this whole Monkey Man thing. Just to abandon it before the action started.
Yep.
yes.
So anyway, monkey masks.
So right, monkey masks. Yeah, like I said, this movie was to me just very
Not
bad,
here.
and there's a cute dog in it at one point.
Yep. There is.
That's like a positive thing about the movie, and the cute dog actually delivers a gun.
Yes. Clever.
I
way.
will say his like original plan was pretty clever. Like,
I agree.
Yes, it was good. But anyway,
Yes.
the movie was not, in my mind, and I'm going to give this 0.3 monkey masks out of 5.
Among your lowest.
It's definitely among my lowest, definitely the worst that I've seen this year, and that's where I'm going to live.
I can't think of what other bad movies that we all have seen this year that we thought were bad.
There's a
Lisa
few.
Frankenstein, I thought we
Was
rated
pretty
that
low.
pretty low.
Yeah. That was at least in the ones, I think, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was some effort there.
Yeah, like I said, to me, this was ruined by the camera work and
just was
cinematography.
and that's your statement. Yep, I get that.
Tim?
I'm more generous. Like I said, it's one of those weird things where like I recommend it, but I'm going to give it a below average score just barely. I'm giving it a 2.3. But if you're, like I said, if you're a fan of this or the material hooked you, you should go see it because I believe it delivers on what the trailer was promising. So that's it.
Just much more shaky cam.
Right.
I'm landing on like a 2.7. Like, I think, well, I'm glad you brought it up because I meant to bring it up and I forgot. But
Yeah.
I thought that the sound in this
Sound
movie
design, yeah.
was just really, really good. Like,
I agree with that.
It was a lot of mixture of sounds that let you know what's going on in the moment, and then it would throw in some music, but it wasn't like a James Gunn, like, throwing in
not
music.
pop culture music.
Yeah,
No,
and there were some like famous songs in it, but there was a different version of the famous songs.
Right.
that played out really well. And
There's
in
also
the
a
movie.
really good Indian drummer in it who I thought they spotlighted at certain times, and I thought his stuff was enhanced the scenes he was in.
Yeah, I mean, there's, and really, it's kind of a shame. There's this whole culture of people that
Yes.
kind of somewhat rescue our monkey man,
Or at least they're part of the journey, yeah.
and I wanted to know more about them. Like, I was very interested in what was going on. You know, they worship
That was a pretty cool scene.
whatever the half man, half woman
Yeah, God thing.
god deity is, and like, so they, you know, they dress androgynous, and I would assume that's a real thing.
Yeah, I would assume so too.
And so I enjoyed that aspect, but you know, I could have gotten a lot more
Out of
of
that.
what was going on there.
That's fair.
But yeah, 2.7. I wish it was better because I was very much looking forward to it. But it is not a movie without plenty of faults.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Okay, well, that's going to wrap it up for this
It's gonna
episode
make the average is going to be really interesting.
of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies. We reviewed the movie Monkey Man, and we gave it an average rating of 1.76 repeating.
With a big bell curve on that one.
Monkey man.
So that's not great.
No. You can wait for video
You can
streaming.
listen to whichever one of us you trust the most,
Yeah.
and go with that. But overall,
We all have reservations. Some are stronger than others.
yes. Overall, I think we have quite a few reservations between the three of us about this movie, although there are some interesting things and a cute dog.
Yep.
So that's where we'll leave it. And thank you for listening to this podcast. And please continue to do so. Continue to download, subscribe, follow us on Facebook, as someone did tonight.
Oh, cool.
And
I was
Welcome.
pumping us hard at work today. I had a couple people pull up their phones while I was
Nice.
talking about
that
us.
might be that was it.
nice.
Maybe it was one of them.
Maybe it was.
Welcome to the group.
Yes. And we will see you next time.
Da 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 da
Da da
da da da.
da da da.